no, give us 3 weeks and we can start on time for a change.
Yeah. Seems like it.
And 3 weeks, I think, to sift through all of the information online about this case. I was talking with Richie um, earlier that it was kind of hard to sift through all of the IMBD and movie references about this case, which is the case in Connecticut, the haunting in Connecticut. And funny enough, I don't know if either one of you have watched the Haunting of Hill House on Netflix. Like, so many people online were trying to like tie the two, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no.
Completely unrelated. Two different things.
Yeah, one
Great
was a fiction
show,
book.
but
Yeah, one was a really
No,
good fiction book. But yeah. And Emily, I know I talked with you briefly, like, hey, are you up on it? And you're like, nope, got to do some more research
yeah.
again.
Yeah, so I did some research, watched the movie last night just because, like, why not? Obviously not using the movie as my basis for facts, but I figured I can draw comparisons. And I know, Richie, you don't really like watching horror, so I figured I would and report on that. So
Yeah, I found in 3 weeks one video that took Hollywood completely out of the equation and only talked about what actually happened. And I'm like, well, they did mention, of course, when you're talking about the case, when you're talking about the haunting in Connecticut or a haunting in Connecticut, there's two different names for it. When you're talking about it, you have to bring up Hollywood at some point because that's just how it is with that, since they did make 2 movies out of it, you do have to mention it. But that's as far as he went with it. The rest of it was focused on giving us what the family actually went through. So that was, like I said, only one video in 3 weeks that I found that actually talked about the case and left Hollywood's BS out of it.
Yeah, I'm going to put the video or a link for the video in comments right now, so everybody should be able to get to it. It's the one that Richie watched and had really good information on it. I did not watch any of the video. I was trying to read because for this one, it seemed like getting away from the videos because it was so much Hollywood stuff. I was trying to read the reported documents, and I found a place where it said even the parents were being raped by demons, and I'm like, and all the other stuff, like that was never mentioned. So I don't know if that was just a fabrication to make this article stand out from the others, or if this one was really more true to the point.
I think that one was just more fabricated.
Yeah, so we're talking about the haunting in Connecticut. The family in question, well, they're not in question, but the family was renting out a funeral home, and the goth girl in me is like, yes, but they were having some very not fun experiences in this house. But, of all, because I remember, what was it, My Ghost Story or True Hauntings or something where you had that gravelly, low man's voice that would narrate in between little snippet scenes. Like, that was the first time I ever heard about, this case many years ago. And it was not mentioned in that show, but that's also a more family-friendly show. But I found it funny that a lot of the instances were happening down in the basement, that basements are usually almost always creepy anyway.
Right, yeah.
So how much of that was a psychological, tripping themselves out over something? But
Luna.
I think it might be interesting since Richie, since you watch the true
Yeah,
documentary type stuff, compare it with what Emily just watched in the movie, since that's fresh in your
yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Compare between the two.
So just so even summarizing, I came to like 7 pages worth of stuff that I got just from this documentary. So of course we're gonna have to break it down. So essentially, you started the story out pretty well on point. The reason that they were even looking for a home, they were actually 8 hours away from the house in Connecticut. I don't even think they were in Connecticut when the story started. The eldest son of 14 years old got diagnosed with cancer, and he was being taken back and forth 8 hour drives every single day for treatments. So mom was looking for a house closer to the hospital, and she went through all this so much crap, and then finally she found this home, and she fell in love with it. And at first they didn't know that it was a funeral home. She just thought it was a nice home. It was being remodeled. It was only a few minutes from the hospital, perfect for a family, with 4 children. And so, they were great. It was in their budget too. And then after she had came to all of the agreements with the owner of the place, her and her husband went and looked at the house, and then suddenly there's a new room in the basement that they didn't see before, and that's when they found out it was a funeral home. And they agreed not to tell the kids, which, duh, they're, at that age, I wouldn't have told them either. So the 2 boys, the one with cancer and then the second eldest, was put in the basement. That was their room. So they were having most of the issues at first. Um, I guess, according to what I understand, several nights went by that Philip, which is the eldest son who was having the treatments, he would hear something in what the boys would come to call the lab room calling his name. You all right, Luna? Can you breathe? Sorry, she was just making weird noises, but she's okay. Anyways, so um him and his brother would both see random things at different times, and eventually the oldest boy got sick and tired of all of the crap, and he decided he's going to confront whatever it is calling his name and keeping him and his brother up at night. So he goes into the lab room, and he's comes face to face with this man with red eyes. And that is what would later become the demon. So um, there's so much to unpack with this case. There really is. Um, so in my head, I'm trying to get everything together and just break it down. And because it's easy for me to go into the mode of how I'm going to present the case when I get to it on my YouTube channel, because I have all my information right here. But so at some point there's some form of possession. Philip gets possessed at some rate at some point. And I only say that it was a possession because in most cases with that, you will see where the person who acted don't remember anything happening. So their cousin moved in, and he had apparently attacked her at some point. But I guess let me rewind a little bit. Before that, he kept hearing this entity telling him to do bad things to his family because they were all fighting. Go figure. And this is something me and Melissa were talking about. I'm going to fast forward again and then rewind. But go figure, this is an Ed and Lorraine Warren case at some point. And what's happening? The family is having financial issues.
Every Ed and
There's
Lorraine
a
word case.
Yeah.
every single one. So the family's always fighting because apparently the dad is blaming Philip for all the financial issues because of the hospital bills, the treatments. Philip is just whatever's going on with him. There's some connection between him and this entity where he's just turned into a complete. How can I put this? Well, let's just say it right out. I guess hopefully this don't get us in trouble, but he's just a dick.
I mean, any father that is going to blame their sick child with cancer, like.
See, this is why I
movie too.
I don't think that it was because I was thinking about it. I'm like, the father cannot have honestly, like, yes, I can see that, technically it is because of Philip, but it's not his fault, and the father knows that. So there has to be some kind of outside influence that's making him angry to the point that he's bringing this up, because no father is actually going to, like, no father that is willing to move his whole family and change, not change jobs, but get a transfer so that you guys are all closer to the hospital to make things easier on the patient and the rest of the family, is going to then turn around and be like, this is all your fault. We wouldn't be in this situation if it weren't for you. That's just not going to happen. So something was influencing both child and father to be complete dicks to each other.
Okay, now, Emily, in the movie, is this kind of parallel so far?
No, so this part, so the differences so far is that they did not know at all, even the parents, that it was a funeral home. There was a downstairs room that was like locked, and of course, like, the kid tries to go in and like reaches for the handle, scorched hand, you know what I mean? Like, obviously there's more drama there, but like the room was locked, and then eventually they ended up being able to get in, and that's when they all saw the stuff that it was a funeral home. So that's the difference there. And I did actually read one article that said there was still like all of the equipment and everything down there, like in real life, all the equipment and everything still down there. Even like blood and stuff, like they didn't clean it. They just like shut it off.
Not the blood.
Okay, but that was in an article, but again,
the equipment was there, and the parents made the landlord come and remove all the stuff. They didn't do it. They made the landlord get it all removed. And actually, since you brought that up, that reminded me, the mom, after they got in that room, didn't even want to move the family in. But the dad talked her down, and he was like, listen, with all of the money that we've already put into moving here, and we put all of, all this money into the treatments, we cannot afford to not move into this house.
Right.
So, like, if we keep that part from the kids, then to them it's just going to be another house.
Gotcha.
So she eventually,
in the movie, the dad actually still worked like far away, kind of. He would come home on the weekends in the movie, so he was not there.
He did in the beginning, because he was waiting for the transfer to take place. Like, he still had to work, so he was gone all week and was back on the weekends for a big portion, and part of the paranormal that happened to him happened at his job 8 hours away.
Wow. See,
So,
because
like,
in the
he was,
movie,
yeah.
Dad's completely unaffected. Like,
Oh yeah,
not
no.
unaffected, like he is not a great, like there's his own things, but they never make it seem like it's because of the stuff in the house. It's normally like the kids and the mom, which granted they're gonna want to show like single, like mom home alone with the, make it dramatic, but
Yeah.
Right.
so
So
something happened at his work.
yeah, so what happened, after Philip was in remission, because he finally came back, he was in remission, so his cancer was curing, which was beautiful. Everybody was excited, as they should have been. Well, some weird stuff happened, and this is where the part that I said possession, because he had 2 separate times attacked his cousin. The second time, he was removed by law enforcement. His parents checked him into the hospital, and he was put into the psych ward and under a psych evaluation. And when they did that, he didn't know that he did anything. He was crying and throwing a fit, like, I don't know why I'm being removed. What did I do? What happened? But then when they got him to the hospital before the parents left, he told them, now that I am gone, it's going to turn its attention to you, and it's going to be worse.
Mm.
So later on, the mom had basically challenged the spirit that was torturing the kids to do something. And, anybody who does anything with spirit knows that, they don't conform to your time. They do it on their time. So when something didn't happen in the first half hour after her challenge, she's like, okay, there's nothing going on here. Well, that was a fool who thought that, because later on so dad's at work, the cousin's in her room, mom's taking a shower. Well, all of this stuff happened all at once, exactly at the same time. While mom's in the shower, she gets the shower curtain gets wrapped around her face and her neck, basically. I think it was her neck and her face. And she's being suffocated in the shower. At the same time, the cousin is being choked by the rosary that the mom gave her after the first attack from the son. And then we're going to jump over from that to dad. He is working, and the engine of his vehicle starts. Now, this reminded me of this was straight out of an episode of Supernatural to me. The engine starts, and something drives his truck, right through his office space, right where he was sitting. Like, he got out of the way enough to where he didn't get hit, but he couldn't get out of the building. Like, had he not moved from that spot, he would have been run over by his own truck. Like, he heard his truck accelerate and everything.
That's absolutely crazy.
So all of this is happening at exactly the same time. All 3 people are being attacked at exactly the same time. So the cousin does break free from the rosary. Then she runs in and tears the shower curtain apart, saving the mom. The mom, or the phone rings, so mom picks up the phone, and they said that there's nothing on the other end except for a muffled laughter. And the mom said that her hand got really hot. She pulled the phone away, and the phone was half melted. So then,
I like your face, Emily. Like,
Yeah, like, I'm sorry. It melted.
was this a cell phone that had an overheating battery,
Yeah, no, it was actually a landline.
I want to see a picture of the phone. Like, I want to see
Because
the phone.
if I think about it, when the case happened, there were no cell phones.
That's,
Yeah, it was
yeah, you're right.
1986.
Okay, so there may have been cell phones, but they were those hunk cell phones, like those
Those
big,
ginormous, like this
yeah,
big,
the
brick.
the radiation brain cancer cell phone. But it was a landline. So obviously, when the husband called, and they had two phones or something in the house, or I forget, but when she was hesitant to pick it up because she had just had one phone melt in her hand and had something laughing at her. And then he told her what happened. The authorities were on the way, but just like with the Enfield case, what the hell are the police going to do? They can't arrest something that they can't see. So that made the mom realize that even if they were to leave the house, it wouldn't make any difference because clearly this thing can go wherever it wants and do whatever it wants. And I think that that's part of what made the family pre-Ed Lorraine Warren believe that it's a demon. I don't think it's a demon, just a very, very, very powerful evil human. But Lorraine walked in within 5 minutes. There's a demon in the house, and it has a bunch of flying monkeys and shit like every other case. I made up the flying monkeys.
Oh, I was like, wait, really? Like, did you?
No, because there was supposedly other spirits in the house being controlled by this one spirit. So
you
that's
totally
why
made sense, but I just took you too literally.
That's why I said, the demon and its flying monkeys,
That's
because
funny.
every single time Lorraine walks in, there's a demon who is controlling a bunch of different other human spirits. And so every spirit has its flying monkeys
Now,
with Lorraine.
what did they say about necromancy and stuff as far as the articles and everything go? That's my question, because
there was nothing. Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. There was
Okay.
absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about that
So
either.
the article I must have read must have been very much still geared towards the movie, I guess, because it was
I'm
in
gonna
there
see
too.
that.
That's so frustrating because it's like,
Yeah.
what is fact
And
fiction there?
that's what we were saying, because in 3 weeks, and if we had done this last week when we were supposed to, I don't think it would have been half as factual, because it took 3 weeks to sift through the bull.
Yeah.
All of the movie and drama in Hollywood.
Yeah, because you search, even when you search the true story behind the haunting in Connecticut, it still brings up a million articles about the freaking movie. And it's like,
Right.
no, what inspired the movie?
Yeah,
Tell me
it
the
came
case.
based on a true story. Where's the true story?
Yeah.
And that's the only one that happens with. Like every other Ed and Lorraine case, every other case that's been made into a movie, you can find the story right away, the real story right away.
Yeah.
But this one was so elusive, like it didn't want me to find it. And I was also telling Melissa that I think something or someone was trying to stop me talking about it, because I get off at 7 a.m. So I always take a quick nap before I come on here, so that I have some kind of wits about me. From 7 until 9:45, which is when my alarm went off, it was nothing but an endless stream of nightmares.
Really?
Yeah. And so when I woke up, I was just like, listen, it's too late. Like, if you wanted to scare me off this, you should have tried it 3 weeks ago. I put too much time into finding this information to back off now.
Right. The reason sorry, I didn't mean to cut Melissa off.
No. I was going to say, while we've been chatting, and Emily, jump in if any of this is some of the stuff that you've read. I shared an article in chat from NBC News who did an interview with, from some of the people behind there. And one thing I thought was very interesting was that family lived in that house for 2 years before they decided it was scary enough to get up and leave.
Yeah.
And that nobody before this family and nobody after this family have had any problems in said house. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, they were only there a few. Now, granted, they never show in a scary movie like the after the scary, but from what I gathered in the movie, it was not shown that they would stay there like at all. And this happened like immediately upon moving in, and the landlord was all, there's a history and stuff. So definitely different.
And then the side effects because the son was 13, supposedly, if that's correct, being diagnosed with a Hodgkin's lymphoma. Can be a pretty aggressive cancer, especially back then. The treatments and medications and therapies used. Side effects include changes in mood and behavior, increased or decreased strength. So all of, and memory issues and memory loss. So this whole, he doesn't remember what he did. I'm like, that's a demon. That is the chemicals in the body fighting off the cancer to save this young man's life. But we're going to blow it out, for a demon because it's going to get better ratings and sell more tickets at the movie theater. There's so much. And I'm like, again, here we go back to Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Of course.
And absolutely, this family is going to be in dire financial straits because of, I'm sure the insurance system was not any better back in 1986 than it is today, where they cover nothing.
Yeah, it's probably worse.
Those treatments are expensive. So, I put it in the link in the chat. You can scroll up and see the NBC News article. And then if you just Google like Hodgkin's lymphoma treatment side effects, you'll just get it over and over. And it doesn't really matter what type of treatment. It's hard on the body and it causes issues.
Yeah.
So, that is brought up in the movie too. So they are, but the way they kind of put it was like, he was doing a trial and they said that if he ever experiences like the hallucinations and stuff like that to come forward, or but he was afraid he'd be kicked from the trial in the movie. So they kept it quiet for a long time. So it kind of was a way for them to explain why they let their kid have all these hallucinations and not do anything about it. You know what I mean? Because they didn't want him to stop doing the treatment. But and then finally
they were going, sorry, but I just, before you move on from that part, the trials, that is actually what happened. They had to move 8 hours away because they were doing experimental treatments. So, and then the doctor says that none of the medications would cause this. Okay, maybe not, but the disease itself would.
So in the movie, they show that would only happen if it had reached his brain, which is a little confusing to me. I don't know anything about lymphoma. I understand that's lymph nodes, right? So I guess, I don't know. So in the movie, they said if he were having hallucinations, it would mean that it reached the brain. They did the MRI and it showed that it had not. So that's why they were like, what's going on? Is it a mental health thing? So I'm not sure how much that coincides with real life, but
So in real life, after the fact, a little bit later, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He became a drug addict, and eventually Philip, which is the kid who had the cancer, committed suicide. So
that's actually awful. I did not know that.
Yeah. So and it was his aunt that told the story. She did an interview, and she said that most of what you're going to find in media, even at the time of the events, is bull. That the case was so misrepresented. So that's another reason why most of what we're saying, I have to take it with a grain of salt because, you know, the aunt said that most of it was crap. That there were issues, of course, because we wouldn't have got here if there wasn't anything happening.
Right.
But that it was so mishandled and that the family was so disappointed in the way it was handled by media because they just completely twisted the story around. And she said that today, though the everything that happened did absolutely traumatize the family, like it was a case that was traumatizing, that everybody, God is more prevalent in all of their lives now than he was before. They're all devout Christians. And everybody is happy and healthy except for obviously Philip, which I've already said what happened with him. But I gotta wonder how much of what happened was his schizophrenia, undiagnosed, because he went to the hospital, to the psych ward, and they still didn't diagnose him. I mean, he was in there and they said he was fine. He was mentally sound. And so the question comes from a lot of people now, how much or was the schizophrenia, I don't know how did they say it, caused by the events, or was it the cause of the events?
So I'm not sure where you found where Philip committed suicide. I found his obit. His cancer returned and he did not survive.
Well, his aunt said that he had committed suicide.
Um,
You're muted, Emily.
Sorry, Hilda was being very noisy for a second, so I unmuted my mic. This is what we mean when we say it's so hard to find out what really happened with a lot of things. Is you have an actual family member, according to Richie, saying one thing happened, an article saying another thing, and it's like, where is the truth?
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what is true because, I mean, I haven't seen everything that I seen said that the cancer never came back. So there's another thing that makes me wonder how much of this case is actually true. How much of the information, how much of the 7 pages I have written down is actually fact.
right. So I put a link into the Find the Grave and it's got that, but
so much speculation here in the comments. Absolutely. There's so much, that's all we have because, even the family members said it, everything we've been told is crap. So it's like, did the guy with the eyes exist? I mean, the man in the suit with the red eyes, I mean, John Zappis claims to have seen him because at the time he was working with Ed and Lorraine Warren, and he was one of the investigators they brought into the house. Now, unlike Ed and Lorraine, I do trust John Zappis because I've watched him for years, and I've almost never seen him label something demonic. Like he's always getting to the bottom of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, his experience seemed a little more legitimate than having Ed and Lorraine Warren say something. And another thing that didn't make sense, I'm sorry, so I'm going off track from where we were. Okay, so Lorraine said there's a demon, of course, as she always does. Then she said, and this part, I had to pause it when I heard this and just laugh. In order to protect the family and to keep one person from being targeted by a demon, we're all going to have to move in and sleep in the same room. how the hell is that going to stop a demon from doing what he's got to do?
It's like, oh, good, you just gave him choices.
Yeah, he
Like-
could expect his dad from 8 hours away, but he can't. Oh, they're in the same room.
Right,
Like-
exactly. Like,
Can't do anything.
Like, I've not heard of a case where any entity that is supposedly doing all of this stuff is going to give two craps whether you're alone or in a group. If it wants you, it's going to get you.
Yeah. So Chair Bear is asking, what, in our opinion, is the most accurate movie or TV show that is true to the original events?
You know what? At this point, finding this obituary, I don't know if there is any truly accurate TV show or movie or anything on this case at this point.
Or do you just mean like in general horror movies, like that are based on a true story, like the Conjuring ones and stuff? So I guess
And it was like, yeah, okay, if that's the case, then it will still get you. Right. It can get you anywhere. Chair Bear means in general.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. That Conjuring, I think it was the Conjuring 2, but it was that case about using possession as a defense for murder. That guy that committed murder and stuff.
Oh,
that movie was kind of accurate. I guess.
I haven't watched any of those movies at all, but
I think I watched that one, and there was like another type of documentary on that. And it seemed pretty true to form. And that was, I think, the first trial case where religion possession was brought in, and the judge was very, very skeptical. He's like, if we do this, every other serial killer and murderer sitting in prison is going to scream this and try to reopen everything.
Right. And I think it was the second Conjuring movie that they had done that case, right? And Ed and Lorraine Warren were involved in everything, because I remember the actress.
Of course they were.
Right, and of course they were.
I mean,
the actress is Norma Bates.
So. Ed and Lorraine Warren are the Conjuring series.
Yeah, literally.
So I mean, they follow everything they do follows the Warrens, which is.
I've been trying to find a good statistic breakdown. Like, Ed and Lorraine Warren are estimated to have investigated over 10,000 cases. That's a lot for a human lifespan, right?
That is a lot.
I'm like, how many were not demon? And I cannot find a good.
I would like to know too, how many of them cases did she walk into and say that they weren't, or says that it was human spirit and did not say there's a demon here,
or said there was nothing wrong.
Right.
Or nothing wrong at all.
Yeah, that happens.
I don't see a single case out of those 10,000 where Lorraine would say that there was nothing going on.
Yeah.
I feel like okay, so this is something something else I told Melissa when we were just chatting beforehand. I truly feel, at least for the cases that we know, that Ed and Lorraine Warren were truly trying to help in a way. But in what way? Because, like we said, every single case that we know comes back to the family was having financial issues. Now all of a sudden they have all of this fame, and let's not pretend that none of these families got some kind of royalties from the fame. Even if they say that they didn't, yes, you did. You're just saying you didn't because you want us to truly believe your story. So it's like all these financial issues. All of a sudden, here come Ed and Lorraine Warren. There's a demon. Now you are a Hollywood sensation. Your story is a Hollywood sensation. You got an amazing horror movie. Everybody knows about you. Everybody knows who you are now. And it's like, so, how were they trying to help? How many cases did they get into where they were trying to help the family spiritually? How many were they trying to help financially? Or was it all just a ploy to make themselves look better so that they could get richer? Because we know for a fact that they made bank off of all of this. So, like, I mean, I will never ever sit here and say that Lorraine Warren did not have a gift. I truly believe that she did. I just think that when she didn't get the answer she wanted, she made one up. And she put demons where they didn't necessarily belong. That way her husband would be important.
Yeah, because I mean, what's Ed gonna do
Just like,
if it's not a demon? All
yeah,
he is a demonologist, right? She's
just like
the
a
medium.
yeah, just like a
Make it
certain
stop.
Hollywood director. Well, I guess not really Hollywood. I guess a certain director and writer who makes movies just so that his wife has something to do.
Mhm. That is a lot of cases. I keep reading on the back end, trying to find something on it. What I did find, and I don't know how much I buy into this accusation or alleged uh, child sex abuse. It's on the Warrens Wikipedia page, but there is a lady who said she had a 40-year sexual relationship with Ed, and she got pregnant, and Lorraine convinced her to have an abortion so it wouldn't ruin their business. The man was dead before this Judith could make, so he can't defend himself. And I don't remember when Lorraine passed because she lived longer than Ed. So
Yeah,
I just
it
here we go.
hasn't been that long.
Ed died in 2006 and Lorraine died in 2019.
I was
So
to say,
Ed
yeah,
was not around to defend himself against this allegation. And for 40 years, come on. If they were Roman, the Warrens were Roman Catholics, so they are strict, Jesus loving, Bible thumping people, right? Hence this whole everything's a demon if it's not right. And if Lorraine knew, she is not going to put up with that for 40 years.
No, I don't believe
Girl's gonna
one.
go make her money on her own with her
Right.
gift, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right, because let's face it, she didn't need Ed to do what she was doing.
No.
I want to
So-
know, did Lorraine ever offer like readings or something on her own? Did she help people connect with loved ones that passed? Or was it really her just walking into houses and saying, demon, demon, demon? Because this is my question. And I'm not trying to like second guess anybody's authenticity, and I really don't want to be that person. But when they're basically already telling you what's going on the phone before you get there, how difficult is it to walk in and just curate a story? It doesn't seem like she's really coming up with a whole lot of information that is like fact that she would not have a way of knowing, like how a psychic or a medium normally works. It's more like, oh, well, there's a demon here and this is what's happening. There's no way to confirm or deny the types of things that she says. So I'm curious to know the instances that she was super accurate on something like that, where it was like how a loved one passed, or how many times did she produce information that she wouldn't have a way of knowing beforehand or can be like fact checked? That's my question.
So I can't find anything on that. What I do see is Edward was a self-taught and self-professed demonologist. So it's not like he had any training under, people of authority on what things are. And Lorraine professed to be a clairvoyant and a light trance medium who worked closely with her husband. So nowhere can I find where Lorraine was sitting in a shop like Goddess Elite or doing readings on the side and, fell into this because of helping a client and word of mouth got around.
That's what I was wondering.
Chris says she did do good readings on the show she was on years ago.
Okay.
What show was that? I love a bit of
seen
those
a couple,
right?
Like I've seen a couple shows that she ended up like popping up on before she passed away, where she was like super, super old,
Yeah.
But again, even in those shows, I didn't see her produce information that wasn't already like present, I guess.
Right.
Right. But I don't know. It's kind of hard because a lot of her probably up and coming stuff was before the paranormal field took off and before this stuff was all as mainstream as it is, because they were pioneers in it. As much as we can say they were real or not, they did. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Because of the time period, they did kind of pioneer this field.
I mean,
right?
without them, we probably wouldn't be able to sit here talking about this because, without them, they would be busting down our door and hauling us away right now.
Right.
So, we can say all we want about them, but we do have to respect the fact that they are the reason that we can actually sit here openly talking about the paranormal now. Because without their efforts and I guess the best way I can put it is their fearlessness. Paranormal TV wouldn't have happened. And then, we wouldn't, like I said, we wouldn't be talking about it right now because it would be taboo and we would get locked up for it. So
I might be wrong here, but I think Paranormal State was one of the first televised or television-based paranormal shows that you could watch way back in the day. And then I think Ghost Hunters, the plumbers came around. So Paranormal State was one of the ones to kind of knock on that door and go, the creepy happens.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed watching it. It's a shame some of the drama that came out after with a certain person.
I forgot about that.
And that's where Lorraine met Chip Coffey. And
that's where I think I saw her.
I love Chip Coffey and I want to meet him.
I met him in PA at a paranormal thing. He is a blast. I have a picture with him, he and I standing there. And he would do shit like after he and I talked a bit and everything, he would just be walking around the room and he'd come up behind me and just kind of, he's like, "You're not human," and then walk away. And I'm like, you can't drop that and just walk off.
That's funny.
Yourself.
I want to be Chip when I grow up.
Seriously.
But he was a fun guy. Him and his scarves. He always had his scarves.
Oh my, yes, always. Even today when he popped, because I don't know if they're going to make any more seasons. I hope they do. But when he became a regular on Kindred Spirits with Amy Bruni and Adam Berry, he's always got his scarves, and I'm like, I'm in love with this man's scarves. They're amazing. And you can buy his scarves. You can buy scarves exactly like his on his website.
No way.
They're too expensive for me. I'm not going to pay what he wants for them. But
there used to be back in the day of Pat Catan's those same exact scarves for $5. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a Chip Coffey scarf.
They became Chip Coffey when Chip bought them from Pat.
Yeah.
But there was no pack of tans, so now you have to go to Chip Coffey.
They are $30 on his website, in case y'all were wondering.
I'm not paying $30.
Emily, I see you in a Chip Coffey scarf next week in the store.
In the shop, my most sacred item. Yeah. Oh my god!
A couple, 2-3 years ago, he was supposed to be at the Reformatory the same year that Adam was there, and Amy Amy was supposed to be there too, so Amy and Chip both ended up canceling,
It's so sad.
which really, really broke my heart. But I'm like, you know what? I got to meet Adam. He is so adorable, and I absolutely love him. He actually, my biological mom was going to go that year, but she was having um issues where she had lung cancer, and she was going through a bunch for that. And when I met him at the meet and greet, he made a video for her
Aw.
because she wasn't able to go. And
Cool.
unfortunately, I lost the video because of my old Facebook was deleted by Facebook because they didn't like what I was saying. But my mom does still have the video, I think. So, well, she does because she shared it back in May, I think. But yeah, so he did that, and I was like, that's awesome. Like, but and that's the difference between paranormal celebrities and like every other celebrity. Paranormal celebrities they are so human. I
They're
mean,
usually very approachable and friendly. Like I love the Ghost Brothers.
dude,
Yes.
They're my favorite people.
I showed you
every
that
year,
picture, Melissa. That
it,
somebody,
it
I was
never,
so mad. So, I
it
went to take
never,
a picture with them, and
uh-huh,
whoever took the picture, I'm so mad at them because the sunbeam like whited out my whole face, and so you can barely see that I'm even in it. So maybe I'll try and get
yeah.
someone to Photoshop and like do some correction on it. But
I have some
They
really good
whited you out.
yeah,
They're just
I,
overexposed.
I have really good pictures with those guys. They are awesome. Both times that I met them at the meet and greet, we sat around doing shots together. The first year we were shooting Jack, and I think the second year we were shooting tequila, which is not a good idea. But
yeah, they're
um,
really funny guys too. Like you can tell they
they're
really think they're
awesome.
doing.
Yeah, they were awesome. You know, but it's just like the paranormal people, man. You see them on the street, just walk up to them and say hi. They don't give a shit. They're going to talk to you. Unlike Hollywood celebrities where they got paparazzi up their ass, they got security around them, like you can't breathe in their direction, you know. So that's why I love the paranormal so much. It's like, first of all, I love the paranormal in general, but like our celebrities are the best because they have not forgotten that they're human like the rest of us.
Right, like they're still like for the most part, still
And
pretty
they will,
humble. I'll say for the
you know,
most part.
even
Right.
even ones who are on TV or have been on TV a lot, who've had multiple shows, multiple episodes, they're still very vocal about the fact that they do have a normal 9 to 5 because you do not get rich doing paranormal TV.
No. I mean,
I
even Greg, who is on a paranormal TV show, he is
Yeah,
still busting his way through doing readings every day, house parties.
And that's what he kind of told me too. He's like, you have to grind. He goes, this stuff
yeah.
doesn't fall in your lap.
That's like what we were talking about. Zane was telling us on Sunday when we were started our healing stuff. He's like, don't try to make a career out of it. He told us, he's like, yeah, for a long time you can go a decade where it's paying the bills, but one day it's going to stop. So do it as a side job. Don't do it as your main source of income, which is the whole paranormal field in general. You don't, like, you can do it absolutely, but have a 9 to 5 because you got to pay the bills. Because one day when the ghosties stop talking to you, then you're shit out of luck at that point.
Or
So
be like
it's
me
like
and work at a crystal shop so that your whole
that,
life
that
is just
which
spooky.
That would be amazing, but
No, I know you live too
I
far.
can only
We would
hire
love
so
to
many
have you.
people.
But you know what, Emily? Yes, I do live far, but when I'm in the store, there have been times that somebody was looking for something and I heard them and they couldn't find it, and I'm like, "Oh, it's over here. You can go."
Our honorary.
And there was one time I remember Melissa had asked some people if they needed help with anything, and they didn't. And then she had just looked over at me and she's like, "Richie, you live here. You already know. You don't need my help."
I don't need to tell you where anything's at. You know it probably just as well as we do.
Yep.
But
I have way too many pictures on my phone. I'm sitting here trying to scroll back and find my chip coffee picture. The amount
I'll
of like,
find my Ghost Brothers picture. I'll post it in the Discord.
I would love to meet Cindy Kaza, Chris. I really would.
Oh, Cindy Kaza, love
Yeah,
her.
she put in that Cindy Kaza is super nice and down to earth too. Like, I would love to meet her.
Are you guys watching on Twitch? I know I probably should be doing that so that I can keep up on comments, huh?
I mean, I'm
Okay.
watching the little comment thing over here on StreamYard. It shows Twitch, Facebook, I guess Twitter. I didn't know we were on Twitter.
Yep, we're on Twitter.
Or
Hello,
X.
all of our friends.
Oh my gosh, I'm accidentally in the private chat thing. I
Oh,
didn't
that's
realize
fine.
I just had to click comments. It's right there. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Hi,
Yeah,
Karen.
Right.
they really are. They really are, and I
You know
love
who
that.
knows Cindy Kaza? And before COVID, I was working on trying to set up communication to get her in store. Is Jim Flynn.
We love Jim.
So I might have to poke him on Sunday and be like, "Your friend Cindy."
Listen, if you get her in the store, tell me before you tell everybody else, so I can make sure that I can get in there. Tell me, and then you can tell everybody else.
Richie first, then all y'all second. You hear that, Richie?
Right.
Maybe we should reach out to like the Ghost Brothers about doing I don't know where they're located out of though, but I think it's like fairly.
Aren't they out of like Georgia? Aren't they?
They're
Georgia?
out of Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
They're
That may be a little far for them to.
Yeah, unless they were already coming up for like say Parapsychon and we could get them on like a day.
We're like doing an investigation, maybe we could like reach out to them and be like, if you're ever in the area, come here.
Love to have you. Like I have.
I mean,
my
they do have my contact information, so
they've got my cell phone, which probably went into a garbage can in the airport. You know, like I'm sure everybody's like, we would love to have you. We would love, and they're just like,
right. They're like, yeah.
I'm sure they hear it all the time. Do they appreciate it? Yes. Because they feasibly respond to everybody? No.
No. I put my business card in every book that I sell, or in this case, give away, because when I first published it, I bought a bunch of copies and I took it to Parapsychon and I just gave them to the celebrities. So like Dave Schrader, the Ghost Brothers each got their own copies. Heather Taddy has one. Dustin Perry has one. Luna, hush, 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 hush. I hear it. It's just the neighbors being loud. You know, so I put my business card in there so they all have that, but are they going to call me? Probably not. That's okay.
Hey, no harm in putting it out there, right?
I mean, you never know.
I think there's a picture on Dave Schrader's Twitter account though where he's holding my book.
Karen says she has your book and she's gonna read it soon.
Yeah, she bought it at Wine and Spirits.
Oh, okay.
And I will be
again September 14th.
I will be at I'll be at the next one, Karen. So you told me last time that whichever one you didn't buy this time, you'll buy next time. So now you know.
Well, I might find this picture before we're live again. Like too many memes, too many pictures and videos of the boy when he was in Taekwondo.
right now we're kind of just babbling, but we're at our hour, so we're
Yeah,
just
guys, on our way out,
we're just
like drop
filling
in
in.
suggestions for what you would like us to talk about next. That helps us
Yeah. I mean,
narrow down.
I have a whole list of famous cases that I'm going to be researching for my YouTube channel. So, I mean, I can float those to you guys and see if any of those strike you guys for something we can work on.
Okay, almost 10 years ago, and don't mind how bloated I am because the air conditioning was not working in the hotel. I was not a happy camper. But there's me and Chip
Yeah,
Coffee. You can
there's that
see.
awesome scarf.
Yep. This was back in 2015.
You know what? As a matter of fact, I think that I can.
Oh, I like that chair. She suggested take 3 separate cases that have a single thing in common and compare them.
Ooh, that's a really good idea, actually.
And we
We'll
should,
just have to figure.
yeah, we should attempt that and get out of the Ed and Lorraine Warren because
You know, it's just, they're just so easy to. So, guys, I found this one. I don't know how if you can see it. You can't see it. Hold on. Maybe if I turn the brightness down some, can you see it? No.
kind of.
No, it's too bright.
All right, let's see if
It's
you
me.
can find. Look what they did. So disrespectful.
I got closer like Emily did. Here
Oh,
we go.
Emily.
Like not a single person was like, "Hey, let me retake that.
There.
Scoot over this way a little bit." Like,
They
Yeah,
just let it
thank
by. They're
you.
like, this
yeah,
Thank you for showing me what to do, Emily. There I
yeah. And what's even worse is that might have been Brandon taking the picture. I can't remember, but it might have been Brandon. And if it
is that divorce papers I hear being signed already?
yeah,
Before even getting married.
Fury.
Oh, I forgot about him. I forgot about Shane Pittman.
Hans Holdier is what Chris said was maybe some Hans.
Yeah, he has a lot.
Oh.
There's a lot of cases.
And Chris says
Or
maybe look at cases.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
And
Because
there's a whole series with Schrader, I
Dave
believe.
Schrader, yeah, that was Dave Schrader, and I think Cindy Kaza.
I think it's called the Holzier Files, right?
Yeah.
Should be able to find it on Discovery, I think.
I'd like to maybe talk about a couple like more local cases or local locations as well, which I know maybe that wouldn't be interesting to everyone though, because I know we've got some people from all over. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but
still cool.
I mean, if you wanna know about some good local places, you should definitely read my book because I hit Ohio right away. I'm from Ohio, so of course I hit Ohio.
Chair is okay with local.
Okay.
Nicholas, maybe Nicholas is in Ohio too. Melanie, when are we coming to Savannah? I'm telling you, it is always a possibility. It is just the time and the planning.
Man, right.
It's been a minute since I've been. The only time I've ever been to Georgia was Fort Benning, picking up my son's father from basic training. I should have left him there.
I knew you were going to say something like that.
I should have left him there.
Life at the time. No, I shouldn't say it. We're friendly. Like we can have a conversation without plotting murder out loud, at least. So, but
okay, it's a 12-hour drive. 12-hour drive
with a 4-month-old baby in the back seat was hell.
I guarantee it. Yeah.
Yeah, pass.
But
I would love to ask there too.
I need 12 hours to get from Mansfield to Long Island, and I did it after work by myself. That was horrible. So driving that far is not something that I would do by myself ever again.
No, I have learned not to do such things. All right. Well,
Chris was just in Savannah 3 weeks ago, she said.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Right. Like, what up, Chris? Come on. Is that why you weren't at Wine and Spirits? No. Yeah, so September 14th, next Wine and Spirits, we'll have our little memoriam table. We'll have our readers attending in memoriam. Who
Yeah.
will be there with us.
Hold
Oh,
on.
is that
Was
the
that
cat?
Yes, it was the cat.
Okay.
Like,
I was like, are we having some paranormal shit on live? Come
no,
on.
it was 100% my cat.
Little brat.
I'm like, I didn't
Really?
even
Thank
see
you.
her. I just see the picture, and I'm like,
I
yeah.
know,
no,
yeah.
it's my cat.
I seen her on the shelf over here behind your chair,
Yeah.
but I didn't see her touch the. So that was fun. Anyway,
Now
Yeah,
you guys see in true form what I deal with.
you're haunted by a cat. Yeah.
Yeah, haunted by my evil Hilda.
earlier I kind of had a little slight freak out, like I didn't mean to, but I forgot Luna was in the room because she was so quiet back there with her little treat that I gave her. So when she just walked into the light on the bed back here and I just caught her out the corner of my eye, I was like, what the hell was that? And I'm like, oh my God, it's my dog. It's, and I'm like, you scared the hell out of me.
Oh, that's funny.
It's been a minute since I've gotten to have something that I was kind of like, woo. Now it's more of, if you're in the store too long, Emily, I'm sure you've heard it. Little things start popping and knocking. You know, I'm like, the store is done with us humans. It is their time now. But that doesn't even freak me out. It's like, well, I've been here too long. They're sick of me. It's time to get out. But
yeah. It's always before open or after close. It's like that liminal time that things are weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that when I've been sitting over in the other building where, you know, you set up everybody during the psychic fairs, that a little girl has been constantly on me while I'm over there.
You know me too, wear chair. You know me too. That's right, Chris. As soon as I said that, I'm like, no, Chris was there giving you a hard time.
Yeah,
So,
I was thinking the same thing, but I just let it go.
yeah, Chris was there. Animal readings and tarot. No, I think the last paranormal anything was when I moved into my apartment 2 years ago, and the old biddy didn't like how I was setting up my apartment, and she was turning on the gas on the stove.
Oh.
So yeah. And then there was a young man that kept hanging around. So doing a live with Marianne, you can go back and watch on our YouTube channel about 2 years ago on this. And me being the petty spaghetti that I am, the old lady left the apartment overhearing the conversation, but the old man thought he was slick and didn't believe that he would get trapped in with a seed over the door. So I walked up, put a seed, trapped him in the apartment. You can watch all of that live and Marianne laughing about it. And kept him trapped in there for almost the hour before I went over there and let him out. But that was the last time. So it's almost too quiet for me between the apartment and the store because everything is guarded from earthbounds and stuff. Yeah. So I only worry about pesky fairies and other type of beings. Bob complaining when his whiskey isn't, tequila isn't filled. But we're gonna wrap up because I'm getting hungry and need more coffee. And Emily, you'll be reading at the store today. And Richie, I'm sure you would like to go to bed. So we'll be back in a couple weeks. We'll figure out what topic we're doing, and we'll put that up somewhere on our socials of what we'll be discussing. But feel free in the comments to drop other suggestions because we can see them afterwards. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
You guys.